because it's quite a lurch.
It's interesting that they'd have bunks like that. If like it was known for spaceship to lurch and stuff. Like, do you have like a
The
seat
bunks
belt
themselves
in your
are
bed?
fastened to the wall, but the lurch is so significant that he, as a non-fastened object, is going to have to attempt to not. I mean, they're built into the wall technically, like they're not fastened. They're sort of, like the kind that you might find in a train or an airplane that expects you to sleep. There's sort of bunks that are built into the structure.
So is that my reflexes or my strength?
You want to roll physical. You want it not your attribute at all. There's a skill called physical.
That'd probably be -1, -2 for you, I'd assume.
If you haven't put anything into it, it's probably a negative for.
I don't even know where the fuck that is. Oh yeah, it's
under every day.
Okay, so with the +2, I am at 0. So
okay, that's fine. 10. Unfortunately, that's not quite enough. You go tumbling out, as well as several other people in the room. Although the people on the adjacent wall don't. They just sort of, get pushed further into their bunks.
Interesting.
Because that's the direction forward. By the way, the ship forward is this part.
It's always
this
north
way.
then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, north is forward. You're and suddenly you go forward because of the inertia of the vessel. Speaking of which, I need the same type of stability check from Caswell, who's sleeping.
Yeah.
Are you top or bottom bunk, man?
Top or bottom bunk?
I am a bottom.
That's good. You have nowhere to fall.
All right. So 3d6 -1.
Yeah, and you're asleep, so I'm going to say there can be no description.
Yeah. But so.
And it's still a difficult check for you as well.
Oh god.
It's going to be a
3D.
difficult check for everyone.
Oh god, 3D dice.
No, I'm afraid that is
not enough.
You are suddenly awoken in the middle of a peaceful slumber, Caswell, as you are slide ungracefully out of your bed and tumble into the middle of the room, just before the person who is sleeping above you thuds next to you from the top bunk.
He is surprisingly still asleep.
No, he's definitely awake, mumbling about what the hell is going on. But before we address that, we have to move back to the cargo bay, where two people also have to make a difficult physical skill roll to not fall over or get thrown, perhaps, into the adjacent boxes.
So is that -2?
There's no minuses unless you're untrained in physical.
Of course, the person who's trained in it is the one who rolls the worst.
I am. What do you know?
I mean, you were too busy.
So that's an 11 then, Cannon. You forgot to add the +2 to it.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Oh wait, no, yours is -2 and a +2, right? So that'd be 0.
I have 0 modifier in the thing because I have -1 and +1.
Oh.
Oh.
That's interesting. Yeah. Shit.
Okay. Well, and then you're trained in it though.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're trained in it, then wouldn't you have +1?
No,
Well,
but he's a -1.
That's the one. And then I have -1. No, I think the +1 was from something else. I don't actually remember.
Racial?
What's the -1 from?
Yeah.
-1 is from not being trained. The +1 is probably from your racial.
No, I'm not.
no.
I was
You're not. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
Anyway, it fails no matter what. Anyway, so.
Right. Anyway, you fail. Everybody fails. Probably a little too. I mean, you guys are not at all expecting to have to brace yourself, and you're just jumping along on your spaceship. That's what it's called. Faster than light speed in this system is called jumping. So the ship is just jumping along, and suddenly the two of you are also thrown from your card table, and you slide unceremoniously, thudding into these these boxes here.
Except Cannon is covered in cards.
Yeah, I imagine more than a full deck of cards comes out of my shirt.
Like multiple decks worth of
Yeah,
cards.
I just stand up in like a steady stream of cards. Shirt sleeve. I'm like shaking it out because there's too many.
This continues for the rest of the session.
He makes armor made out of the cards that he stole from the game.
Oh my.
And in case you thought we forgot about you,
Yeah.
Talios, you two have to make a difficult skill check to.
I would even argue that my skill check is a lot harder than everyone else's, considering I'm like actively concentrating on something else and standing up and bending over.
Yeah, but there's also a waist-high surgery table in front of you.
That's true.
Which is the
yeah.
direction you would be heading. So I'm going to just say it's the same difficulty as everyone else's.
Well, how about this? If I fail, I'll tell you what will happen. It'll be interesting.
You expect to fail. Don't hurt yourself too much.
So it was a -2, right?
If you're untrained in physical, it's a -2.
Yeah. All right. So I fail. So here's what happens. The ship lurches, and I'm like, getting in there, sort of thing, and the ship lurches, and I go, oh shit, and I put my hand out, and I brace myself on the top of the gurney or whatever the metal slab is, and because my hands are coated in blood, my hand slips.
Oh.
And I can't brace myself, and my head just goes straight into the corpse.
All right, so you're now even more covered in blood than you were before. In fact, there's probably some unscrupulous bits of meat that are also.
I don't know about unscrupulous bits of meat. I would say that I'm pretty good at cutting up a man, that I wouldn't just leave like bits floating about in there. So I'd say
but
it's
you're also
mostly
a
just
giant alien monster who just went careening into his open gut. So that is what caused unscrupulous bits of meat.
Okay, sure, all right.
I imagine he would know what those bits are.
Yeah.
So they have all the scruples.
So totally scrupled bits of meat that you can identify with great clarity are now all up in your business.
Nobody trained physical except for Graham, I believe. You trained
I
physical?
didn't.
No, nor I.
Wow, okay.
No, I
Even the
did.
melee guy didn't do that. That's interesting.
I did.
No.
You
You
did?
did. You just rolled like
Caleb
crap.
did.
I just rolled terribly.
Alright.
The best roll was for the person who did not train it.
Yeah.
So that all happened simultaneously, obviously, because that's how time works. Not long after you were all thrown, there are questions abounding, especially if you're in the passenger quarters. But I'm sure in the cargo bay, people are, and inwardly, Talios is also asking himself what's going on. Not long after that, yellow alert for the vessel goes up, which is just there's warning lights spread throughout the vessel and the various crew, cargo, and corridors, etc. And they turn to an illuminating yellow that thrums and blinks. Not quickly or urgently, but just somewhat. And over the communication system of the entire vessel, the voice of the corporate captain fills the corridors. We're experiencing some sort of malfunction with the jump drive. No worries, everyone. Go back to sleep. We'll have it working in no time, I'm sure. And it cuts off after that.
I'm worried.
I don't care.
I mean,
I have worries despite his.
I mean that's something I'd be worried about since I am a mechanical person.
Yeah, why
so-
don't you make a your profession mechanic skill check
All right.
to as sort of a knowledge into it, like about the nature of suddenly coming out of jump.
We hit a Spaceberg.
May I
Which
I do
is
that as well?
Spaceberg. If someone has, anyone can make that if they have the mechanics skill. You can make
Yep.
a sort of
Okay.
intuit knowledge check.
3d6 plus 1.
Well, I do have that.
Wow, dudes.
Nope.
What's going on?
Through some bizarre twist of fate, I also have that.
Through some bizarre twist of fate.
Do we all have this?
I have it. Yeah.
I have engineering.
Yeah,
But-
you can go ahead and make.
But no, that's like a vehicle system skill. So,
Yeah.
it's not.
I'll
Like,
count. Well, is there a way to just plus that to your die roll?
yeah.
Is
There
it?
is.
Yeah, go ahead and then just make it then.
So we all can take a guess.
Lol. we all fail at like falling over, but we all know what's going on. So, like,
No, you don't fail because it's not a difficulty 16.
I mean, we all failed falling over, but we all know.
Yeah, you all
what's
failed
going on.
falling over, but you've all intuited about the jump drive here. Jump drives don't work like that. You can't just suddenly, even if there's a failure, you don't just suddenly drop out of jump. You slowly lose your jump field, sort of, and then come back into normal space. And there isn't a huge lurch when you come back into normal space, because you would still be traveling forward in normal space. So you're also dead in the water in normal space, and that's not normal either. That would be the only thing that could cause the inertia to throw you forward.
I have a question for you, Wreckage.
Yeah.
If you're in space, and it's probably up to you to decide this, but how important is it for you to keep moving in space? Like, why would there be a reason for you to stop moving?
Well, what's the question? I don't know.
Like for example, if is there a serious reason for a ship to just idle in space? Like in the middle of nowhere, like not around orbit, not anything like that, just in the middle of nothing.
So, first of all, you know from basic physics that things that are moving want to keep moving, right?
Sure, yeah.
So something has to stop it from moving.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are forward-facing thrusters on a ship to stop it, as in the way of brakes. So it could have been the forward-facing thrusters on the ship that have stopped the ship itself, or it could be something outside the ship forcing the ship to stop.
Right.
And all of you know that it would have to be something like that, and that the ship has to have come to a complete stop, and that's not the way that falling out of jump or having a failure in the jump system works.
Okay. In that, having realized that, Telios will clean himself up in the basin, which I assume is in the medical region, and then he wishes to equip himself. In anticipation of there being casualties or anything
so
like that. Yeah.
Talios,
Or injuries, I guess, would be better.
Is already going straight to the worst possible scenario. So, does anybody else do anything? Having made that realization,
knowing this, I would want to I definitely would want to personally go and look at maybe the actual warp drive itself, because obviously something is very amiss, more than what the captain's letting on.
What is your position on the ship, anyway?
Fuck, what is?
well, that's
I
your
guess I'd
decision.
be-
Are you the mechanic for this ship, or are you going out to the colony to be a mechanic?
I'm going to be a mechanic, but I imagine I would be allowed to at least help assist. Maybe not do much on the ship, but I imagine I'd be allowed to assist.
All right. What else do other people do before we get into those
I
resolve
would like to
actions?
go talk to the captain.
All right, Gifka, you
Go
intend to go
towards,
talk
the
to the
commanders.
captain.
I'll say, hey, where are you going?
I'm going to talk to the captain, see what's going on.
Varian, what do you do?
I'd imagine I'm relatively separate. I'm like kind of a loner in the beginning of this story that we're telling. You know what I mean? So
None of you know each other yet, except for the two security guards who casually played cards just now.
yeah, and I'd imagine I'm even more of a loner than that. Like I just kind of like I'm
people
like
in your-
curious as to what's going on, and I sort of like start packing up my laptop and my little notes I was taking. But like I'm concerned, but not overly concerned. You know what I mean? Kind of
I
waiting
would
for
like-
further instructions.
An awareness check from Varian and Caswell.
Ooh. All right.
Awareness. Is that a? Yes, it is.
It's
it's
everyday
skill.
skill. Yeah.
3d6 plus 2.
Oh shit.
+2, damn.
Nice awareness, Caswell. All right, Caswell. As you're sort of picking yourself up and pushing people off of you, the crew cabin is a little ahead to get the moment. As you're sort of doing that, you notice there are windows in the passenger compartments. You notice that there is a strange red light bathing the ship that is not typical of of the Black Reach Nebula region of space, to your knowledge. In fact, you can give me a mechanics another mechanics sort of knowledge check to see if you can recognize what this sort of light reminds you of.
All right, 3d6 plus 1.
12. Yeah, that's good enough. With a 12, this light reminds you a lot of. It's not like anyone you've ever seen, but there are tractor beams that are used largely in like shipping and docking and stuff. There's no such thing as a militarized tractor beam yet, to my knowledge, of the system. But this looks a lot like those smaller scale things, but you don't know how that could be out in space.
All right. This is concerning. Yeah, I definitely want to go see what's the issue now. Since, what the hell is this light?
Just before you're capable of leaving the room to try and go talk to the captain or the mechanics in engineering, there's another thud that rockets through the entire ship. And then immediately, yellow alert goes to red alert, which is blinking red lights, a loud siren, or a repeating steady siren. That sort of thing. The ship goes to red alert, and as a result, the passenger doors close
Shit.
to the hallway. You know that's something that can be overridden,
Alright.
especially as a mechanic, but there are like safety things that let you override. It's just a sort of an anti-boarding party measure if such a thing were to happen. Whenever it goes red alert, crew cabins close.
All right.
I imagine if Gipka has left to go see the captain, I will when it turns to red, I will say, "Oh, wait for me."
Well, he's barely left at all.
Yeah, I better come too.
So it pounds red alert, pounds into the ship, and the captain comes over the speaker and says, "Be warned, we've just suffered an impact. There's a hull breach. Please stay in your quarters. We will handle the situation. Do not panic." And as he's working his way through that sentence, there is another thud into the ship, and the line to the bridge goes dead.
All right. Question. Wreckage.
Yeah.
How many surgical staff and medical staff is on the ship?
There are a couple other doctors and nurses, but they aren't with you because it's the night cycle, and you were just sort of off on your own.
Okay. All right. Do I know which cabins they're in?
Yes, you do know where they stay.
All right. I wish to grab my medical kit and... Wait, did the door shut to where I am, by the way?
Yes, the med bay door closed as well, but again, you know that it can be overridden. It's just a safety precaution.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get my stuff, and I'm going to... Okay, so is it standard issue for someone to carry weapons on board?
You can be armed. There's no law. There's no anti-being armed.
Okay, cool. Well, then I will grab the my particular weapon that I have, which I won't spoil, and then I will also make my way out in an attempt to find the other surgical stuff, because no doubt they are going to be aware of what's happening, and I want to be on top of things. Rather
Well,
than...
as you're gathering things together, just before you turn to leave, there is another crash into the ship. Only this one is much more immediate for you, Talios.
Okay.
Something bursts through the hull right in the wall of the medical bay.
Lovely.
It looks sort of like a long silver dart of some kind.
Okay.
It crashes through the hull, and I would make you do a stability check again, but this is much less significant. It's like a difficulty 8. It's routine. I wouldn't even actually ask you to do it because I don't think you can fail, really. I mean, you could fail, but there's no reason for you to. You're definitely thrown about as this needle pierces the side of the medical bay. You also notice that the second it pierces the hull, some sort of foam sprays into the cracks that would be made, the sort of uneven bits, and instantly fills. So there's no moment of vacuum sucking air out of the ship.
That's interesting. All right, so it's like a hard-setting epoxy or something like that?
Some future bullshit. Anyway.
Nonsense. Don't even describe it.
Well, I don't want to get out of my breath and say, yes, it is, and then have a scientist be like, that's not what a hard-setting proxy, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
I pour chemicals on it and kill myself. No. Yep, okay. Interesting. And, sorry, my voice is cracking here. In that case, I wish to get out even more.
All right, before you can get out,
okay,
as you start to pick yourself up from that,
yeah.
The needle opens up like a flower, and out falls something that everyone is quite aware of, a mechanid disciple, which I have a handout for that.
You made a handout?
Yeah, I made a handout. It's from the book.
Is
the show to players working? Can you guys see it?
I'm not sure where it's supposed to show up though. So.
Go to handouts, I think.
Yeah, I don't see it.
You mean the journal?
Blank.
Yes, blank.
The journal. Go to journal and handouts, and I've clicked show to players. Is it?
Nope.
Blank. No.
Nope, blank.
God, roll 20. How do I make you work?
For that to work, you have to have a character sheet for each player, I think.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah.
All right, well, whatever. It's the picture from the book of a mechanid disciple. I tried to splice it out so I could show it on the roll 20, but I can't. Whatever. Put it into your minds.
Oh, okay. It's right there in front of me anyway. I see it now. Yeah.
Oh, you do see it now.
It's on the map. I do.
Oh, it's on the map. Right. Yeah. Okay.
So like right there.
Yeah, I see it.
All right. However, can I get a do you have a culture skill?
Me?
Talios?
No. It is actually a -4 for me.
Wow, it's a -4.
Yeah.
Still make an intuitive culture roll.
Okay.
I think this is the one that applies.
So, -4. Basically, the way that I look at it, Alpha Nephilim, or second breed Alpha Nephilim, people don't look at him or they scorn him or whatever, so he, in turn, doesn't give a shit about anything around him.
Yeah, but it's not
for what
only
he's
cultural customs, it's also subgroups, history, and archaeology, and things like that. So
yeah, he's really only interested in his own stuff. That's the way.
He's only interested in biotech, so it makes sense that he would be.
Wow, I rolled pretty good considering.
Wow, yeah, actually, fucking hell, you still notice.
Yeah.
There's something that's been very specifically portrayed about all mechanids from the war throughout history and since. Mechanids, they have all the metal bits, right?
Yeah.
Standard silvery sort of metal. But then they've got all these sort of exposed or internal bits that glow with an eerie purple glow.
Okay.
The thing about this mechanid, however, that you immediately notice is out of step with what your expectations are, is that it glows red in those places instead of purple. You're not a cultural expert, you're not a historical expert, but purple has always been part of how you define and identify mechanid technology.
Okay, that's
So
interesting.
you think that this might be weird or significant in some way.
Okay. Well, I will shoot it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Combat.
Yeah.
Because this is now a battle map thing, and
Yeah.
we're now on a battle map, and we're in the combat phase.
Mm-hmm.
And turn order is determined by int score,
Yep.
which I'm
Ooh.
almost certain you're gonna win.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you've got a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down with this.
So now I'm probably going to want to just unload into this thing the moment I see it.
Right.
Um,
Let's walk through slowly our first combat.
Baby's first combat.
Let's go to the combat section, everyone. Let's hold hands. This is the point of this session, is to figure this out.
Yeah.
So we have the turns decided because you have a higher int.
Yeah.
So you go first.
Yeah.
And its combat is broken up into turns and actions. You may perform 2 actions from the list of actions.
Yeah.
So-
I'm just a little unclear with the rate of fire. I'm pretty sure I can have 3 separate attacks, or I can have one attack that does that is guaranteed to sort of hit for 3. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking happens here, but I could be wrong.
I'm not sure about the separate attacks thing, but I do know that you can definitely add dice. You got what gun again? What weapon?
It's a chemically enhanced SMG.
Chemically enhanced SMG. So the SMG, that is +1 to hit if you have this. Do you have the small arms?
So it is currently I've got it all written down here. My
Okay.
current weapon is +3 to hit, even with the chemical stuff on top, because it takes
Okay.
away 2 for the chemical stuff, and it's +1 to hit with the submachine gun, and then it's +1 to hit with the small arms that I have. So it should have been 5, but it is actually 3. The endurance damage is 4, crit is 3, range is
3.
4.
Oh, I say 3, but does the chemical enhance?
Yeah, the chemical
increase
gives
its
it
range?
an extra range.
Okay, that's great.
And the rate of fire is 3. Is the clips are 3, the ammo is 9, and the rate of fire is an extra 2d6. So it's 3. So theoretically, I can shoot 3 times with the full rate of fire before I have to change my clip.
Okay, so that all makes sense, and you're going to do a standard attack action against him.
So Wade says 1 attack with extra die. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, the second one was right. So basically, it's like you can attack to hit extra, but you can't attack to hit multiple times. Yeah. Okay. All
Right. So you're rolling, I think, 5 dice then?
Yeah. Am I 4 distance away?
You are exact. Yeah. Wait, no. God damn it. So do you count the square you're on?
No,
as-
no, you don't. So it's
count
range
this-
in ahead of you. So it'll be 4 ahead of me, which I am in range now.
Yeah, you are in range. So
Um,
if you don't count the exact space you're on, he's exactly 4, so you have no penalty to that.
Mm-hmm.
You are. Well, if you. So I need to ask a question about your character.
Absolutely.
For anyone else, I would consider the surgical table between you and the robot, the heavy wall sort of defensive one. You'd be under great
So-
defense because it's a sort of like, what is it, chest high wall that you can shoot over.
Yeah.
But you're huge. You're hugely big. Are you able to get completely? Are you able to crouch in such a way that this would count as that type of cover?